Good afternoon, Pioneer Nation, and welcome to another installment of the SHU Sports Report. I'm Aaron Burrell.
And I'm Gino Ganello.
Now, Gino, we certainly didn't have as many sports this past week, but we did have some women's ice hockey, so why don't you get us started with that?
Well, Aaron, the women's ice hockey team looked to defend their 4-game win streak in home ice as they took on a struggling Lebanon Valley College team this past weekend. Pioneers came out of the gate hot in their first game, scoring 2 goals in the first 10 minutes of the first period. Freshman defenseman Olivia Bryant notched her 4th goal of the season off the pass from senior Tegan Ketchum. Shortly after, senior forward Megan Finley gave SHU the 2-0 advantage going into the second period with an unassisted goal. The Pioneers did not stop there as they would put up 2 more goals in the next 2 periods to take a 4-0 lead late into the game. Lebanon Valley would put a goal on the board late, but it would not be enough as the Pioneers would take the game 4-1, extending their win streak to 5. On Saturday, the Pioneers would pick up right where they left off, scoring 2 goals in the first period, this time by senior defenseman Amy Verano and sophomore forward Katie Stuvey to go up 2-0 with 8 minutes to go in the first. But Lebanon Valley would fight back for a power play goal with just 2 seconds left in the period to cut the deficit to 1 going into the second. Unfortunately for the Dutchmen, the Pioneers would regain their 2-goal lead just 19 seconds into the second period as Verano would put away her second of the game to give SHU the 3-1 lead. The teams would trade goals to finish off the second period 4-2 in the Pioneers' favor. A scoreless final period would give the Pioneers their 6th straight win and the series sweep. Women's ice hockey team will get some much-needed rest this weekend before taking on the University of Rhode Island in a weekend series beginning February 10th at 8 p.m.
The women's ice hockey team, they're definitely going to need some of that rest to keep up this hot streak that they're on. But before we get into some SHU hoops, let's send it over to Heather Keller for this week's Update Corner. Heather?
Thanks, guys. We're going to start off with Sacred Heart Track and Field as they traveled to Boston for the prestigious John Thomas Terrier Invitational this past weekend. The Invitational showcased many of the nation's top track and field teams. For the women's track and field team, the Pioneers had a strong outing as Kayla Lawrence placed 7th out of 103 competitors in the 400 meters. Her time of 55.96 seconds was a new personal best. Adriana Fersetti placed 14th out of 66 competitors in the 60 meters. In the women's mile, Jacqueline Thorne bested her personal record with a time of 4 minutes and 59.91 seconds, as she placed 31st out of 104 competitors in the event. She earned NEC Track Athlete of the Week for her performance. In the shot put event, Marina D'Amelia took 10th out of 48 competitors and took 8th in the weight throw out of 44. During the Invitational, 7 Pioneers made qualifying times, heights, or distances for the indoor championships. Men's track and field showed their true colors amongst multiple teams that competed in the Invitational. Quahim Defane placed 20th out of 84 competitors in the 60 meters event, while Joshua Bealoff placed 33rd out of 161 athletes in the 200 meters event. Trevor Guerrera bested his personal record with a time of 1 minute and 48.75 seconds in the 800 meters. That time earned him 3rd place out of 123 competitors. Guerrera earned NEC Track Athlete of the Week as he now ranks 13th in the NCAA in the 800 meters. Connor Rogg placed 4th out of 89 in the 5,000 meters with a new personal best of 14 minutes and 21.28 seconds. Giuseppe DeLucia placed 5th in the pole vault event out of 19 competitors, while Michael Kearns took 5th in the shot put event out of 38. During the Invitational, 6 Pioneers made qualifying times, heights, or distances for the indoor championships. Sacred Heart Track and Field heads to New Haven, Connecticut tomorrow for the 13th annual Yale University Gigangak Invitational. The Sacred Heart bowling team traveled to Fishkill, New York for the Westchester Shootout this past Saturday. Sacred Heart took 1st place in the shootout as 6 Pioneers placed in the top 10 in individual standings. Amanda Nardilio took 1st place in the individual standings with a 208 average, while Courtney McGinn and Sarah Rhodes placed 2nd and 3rd respectively. Bowling is back in the alley Friday the 10th as they head to Houston, Texas for the SFA Jacks Invitational. The Sacred Heart wrestling team welcomed EIWA opponent Bingham for a dual meet at the Pitt Center this past Saturday. Gerard Daly and John Hartnett picked up the 2 wins for the Pioneers as the Bearcats came away with a 34-7 win. In the first match for SHU, Daly picked up a major decision, defeating Ian Lupol 11-0. Hartnett closed the match with the decision win in the heavyweight division. His first period takedown gave him the edge for the 3-2 win over Sean D. The Pioneers head to Pennsylvania this weekend for a pair of meets starting Friday night against Lock Haven. Sacred Heart Swimming and Diving traveled to Monmouth to duel against the Hawks on Friday evening. The Pioneers picked up their 5th consecutive dual meet victory, 120-71, moving them to 8-1 on the 2016-17 season. The Pioneers won 7 individual events, as well as defeating the Hawks in the opening 200-yard medley relay. The Pioneers came back to the McCain Natatorium for a dual meet against the in-state and Northeast Conference rival, Central Connecticut. She had a hard time in the pool keeping up as they fell to the Blue Devils 209-72, even though Lauren Somers took home a victory in the 100 freestyle with a time of 53.21 seconds. Somers fell just short in the 200-yard freestyle, missing the win by just 0.3 seconds. Sacred Heart Swimming and Diving team earned Scholar All-America honors from the Collegiate Swimming Coaches Association of America for the fall 2016 semester. The Pioneers ranked 42nd nationally out of 638 teams with a 3.44 team GPA. SHU Swimming and Diving will be back in the pool to close out their dual meet portion of the 2016-17 schedule on Friday, February 4th against St. Francis University at the McCain Natatorium. That's all the time we have for the Update Corner. For this week's Coach's Corner, we have our very own Mike Hossie sitting with the head coach of men's lacrosse, John Basti, with a season preview. Mike?
We're here with the head coach of the men's lacrosse program, John Basti, as we preview the Pioneers' upcoming season, which starts less than 2 weeks away. It just seems like every year, February 1st just kind of sneaks up on us, and bang, lacrosse season's right around the corner. Last season was a bit of a down year for you guys, but 6 games decided by 3 goals or less. What can you take from being in so many of those games that you can roll into this upcoming season?
Well, I think last year we expected to have a lot better record than we did. And I think the disappointment of last year made us do some self-assessment as a coaching staff, as individual players, and our exit interviews at the end of last season gave us some insight into some of the things that our guys were thinking, which was a huge help for us going into the summer and into kind of the evaluation of our program. And one thing we took from it was we need to play a little bit more free. We as coaches needed to give the team a little bit more freedom, but them as players needed to earn that a little bit more. And so going into the summer, we sat with a bunch of coaches and we really watched a ton of film and on other teams and went through a few different styles that we liked, and we came up with a new type of style that we like to play, and we tried to roll it out. We rolled it out a little bit in the fall for the first time, and it was positive and negative, a lot more positives in the way we play and the speed and the style. And negatives in certain guys were just, as a team, we would revert to our old way of slowing down the ball instead of playing the fast up-tempo style. And so that from one game to the next in the fall, we realized some of the mistakes we were making, and we came out our second game in the fall and really started understanding it. And this so far this spring, it's been more of the same, understanding what we need to do and tweaking little things here and there. And I think the guys the whole team is really excited about the new style of play and being able to compete with this style. And I'm used to, when we were at Hartford, we played a very up-tempo style where it's not about turnovers, it's about volume of possessions. And we kind of embraced it. And it was cool. It drove us nuts as coaches sometimes because you're turning the ball over a lot, but turnovers really don't matter. It's just about playing fast and playing quick and doing things at a speed that somebody else is not used to. And so we've really embraced that. Our guys have really dug in many ways and have not surprised us all, but I think they surprised themselves with how fast and how quick and how hard we can play consistently.
Now, you do return 6 of your top 7 scorers from a year ago, a lot of which are midfield guys. You look at Brian Massey, Max Tuttle, who are all NEC guys who each scored 20 goals last year. When you talk about a new system and a more open, I guess probably be a best way to describe, more open style of play offensively, will that help you guys even more knowing that you have midfielders you can put on the field that can put the ball in the net?
Yeah, and it's more for those guys. We know they can score goals. We know how good Brian is. He's got one of the best shots in Division I lacrosse, and he stretches the defense. But it's more about Brian, his ability to play defense. And he is probably one of our best defenders on the defensive side of the ball because he takes a lot of pride in that. And Max is the same way. We have some really good D-middies that have learned to take the offensive side, taking more control of their offensive game and being able to do more in transition offensively. And so I think with guys like Max and guys like Brian and really all of the guys in our offensive midfield unit have really taken to playing defense. And to play the style, you have to be able to play both. I think you'll see, I think with this style, what you see is those guys playing more of a defensive role and not just an offensive role, but their numbers will either stay the same or increase because they're getting more opportunities. In the time in between the transition and the settled 6-on-6, we're still going to be looking to go, and it's going to open up more for those guys as individuals and us as a team. And it's going to allow our attack to be more creative. It's going to allow Brian, it's going to allow Max, it's going to allow Julian Gaetano and Landon Kramer and Jake Wilson and some of those other guys, and Connor O'Reilly, and more of the ability to play and not just like get off the field and come on the field, but just can play lacrosse and just do what they've done for their whole lives.
You talk about how you've been able to create other opportunities for guys to score. One guy that can really do that is Ryan O'Donohue in long stick midfielders, 4th in the nation last year in caused turnovers per game. What does it mean for this new type of offense you're going to have a guy like him and also a guy like Michael Wagner at the faceoff X trying to steal a couple extra possessions per game?
Well, it's funny because when you sit down and you look at this style, is it because you have a really good goalie that can throw outlet passes, which we have a bunch of them, or is it somebody like Mike, a face-off guy, and our other face-off guys with JT Aquino, a freshman, and Matt Veza, who's a converted face-off guy. If those guys can get us some possessions, we can play this style because we can consistently push transition, and it's not just about winning a face-off and getting a fast break. You can still create transition even though there's not a clear fast break. So having those guys are extremely important, and having Mike back from injury is going to be great. It's going to be huge for our team. And him going down last year, we took a significant hit. And so we're real excited and I know Mike's fired up. He's fired up to get back into it, and he's looking forward to getting going here in the games. But having a guy like OD on the field, those guys are special because it's not something that we even taught him. It's just kind of an instinct that he has to be able to do that. And what's great is he's taught that to some other guys on the team. So we have other guys now that are starting to do the things that he does because we've given him that leash to do it, and we've given him the free rein to do it. And so now other guys have also learned that, so now they're getting to do the same thing. And I think we'll see from some of our other long stick middies and some of our other close defensemen the ability to take the ball away and the ability to pressure a little bit more, where last year they might not have because they just weren't capable of doing it. And so good on OD to teach them certain things. And but also he's going to be playing a lot more, not a lot more, but he's going to be playing some close defense. So he's going to be on the field a lot, that can only help us. And in the transition game, a guy like Ryan O'Donohue and Nick Albanese, and again, Matt Veza, our other pole, those guys are going to be able to create transition, which they didn't do last year. And so we expect a lot out of those guys to make plays in the midfield and just push the ball, or make plays on close defense and push the ball, because the mindset right now for all of our defensemen is when the ball's on the ground, you're no longer a defenseman. You're now an offensive player with a long stick, and you have just as right to shoot as anybody else. And so that's kind of the mindset of what we're trying to do, and I think those guys having that freedom are going to be able to do a lot more of that.
5 of the first 8 games this season are right back here at Campus Field. You open Valentine's Day against Stony Brook. You have Vermont here, who I believe made the American East Championship game last year. And then 2 big conference games right off the bat, Robert Morris and Hobart right here at home. What can fans expect? It seems like it's going to be a wild, up-tempo pace to the start of the season. But when fans come out here to Campus Field, what are they going to see from your guys?
Well, I mean, we're thinking about, right now we're just thinking about Stony Brook. You know, nothing else really matters after that game. It's a one-game season, every single game. And what you can expect, what we can expect from our team is a faster team, a more up-tempo team, a team that's going to try to push transition and try to be a little chaotic. And it's going to be chaotic. There's going to be times where we're all like, what is going on right now? But that's part of the beauty of our game. It's a crazy game. It's pretty chaotic. It's pretty hectic. And when it's being played like that, it's more fun. It's more fun to play. It's more fun to coach. And you just have to deal with some of the headaches, which are increased turnovers and some mistakes. But those mistakes are going to happen. And I'd rather them happen us going 100 miles an hour than us trying to just make everything perfect. And I think that's what you can expect from our team is. And you look at it, we'll just jump ahead to Vermont. You know, that game against Hartford last year, it was in the teens. And they went on a 6-goal run. And then Hartford came back and went on another 6-goal run. And it was just back and forth in the American East Championship game. And I think that's what you're going to see more from a lot more teams in the country, is you're going to see this style of play start to catch on a little bit more. And a lot of teams in our conference play that way. And so now with us playing this way, I think you're going to see. Thank God we got a new scoreboard, because I don't know if the old one would have been able to take it. So.
Well, we'll be watching with bated breath, I guess, on February 14th when you guys open the season
Valentine's
against Stony
Day,
Brook.
man. What a great way to start. And Stony Brook's a good team. They're I believe a top 15, top 20 team last year. They gave it to us pretty good at their place last year on their opening day, and so we're looking forward to that. But we still got 2 weeks to go until we play them, so there's still a lot of work to be done. But I know the guys are looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do, and I'm excited to see what they can do to really make this season a difference, make a difference this season for our program and things to come.
All right, thanks, Sean, for stopping in today.
No problem, Mike.
We look forward to the
buddy.
season. Good luck.
Thanks, man.
Back to the studio.
We hope to see everyone out at Campus Field as the lacrosse teams open up their seasons in the upcoming weeks. Now, on to some SHU hoops. The men's basketball team welcomed conference opponents LIU Brooklyn to Coach Bike Court at the Pitt Center on Thursday night to wrap up a 3-game homestand. The Pioneers had 2 chances in the final 30 seconds of play to force overtime, but fell short as the Blackbirds held on for the 60-57 win. Offensively, SHU was led by Quincy McKnight, who posted a team-high 16 points, while Mario Masatovic dropped a season-high 13 points and chipped in with 6 rebounds. Joseph Lopez dropped 10 points and grabbed a team-high 8 rebounds in the loss. On to Saturday, where the Pios were on the road to take on first-place Mount St. Mary's. They led the Mount 36-33 at the half, but the Mountaineers rallied as they held SHU to shooting 25% from the field in the second half to pull off with the win 67-53. Sean Hone tied his season high of 17 points, going 5 for 6 from behind the arc, making him only the 7th Pioneer in program history to shoot 83.3% from 3 in a single game. Joseph Lopez and Davon Barnett added 10 and 9 points respectively, while Barnett grabbed a game-high 7 rebounds. They'll be back in action tonight at 7 p.m. when they travel to Fairleigh Dickinson. And hopefully they'll gain some momentum heading into their second half of conference play this weekend.
Well, staying on the court, Aaron, the women's basketball team put their 5-game win streak on the line this weekend as they took on LIU Brooklyn at home on Saturday. Pioneers got off to an early lead in the first quarter as standout guard Hannah Kimmel dropped 8 points, including 2 3-pointers, to give SHU the 13-10 lead heading into the second. The Pioneers would increase that lead early in the second quarter as SHU went up 21-10 midway through the quarter. LIU would bounce back, though, scoring 11 of the next 16 points to cut the deficit to 5 before the half. Out of the half, the Pioneers would hit their stride, scoring 22 points in the third, jumping out to a 17-point lead heading into the final quarter of play. A closer fourth quarter wouldn't do much as the Pioneers would take the game 66-48 to extend their win streak. Hannah Kimmel and Catherine Haynes would combine for 36 as the game's 2 leading scorers. 5 different Pioneers helped the team to shoot 45% from behind the arc. SHU would then hit the road on Monday, the 30th, to face Mount St. Mary's in another NEC showdown. The game would go back and forth to start the first, keeping the score tight at 9-9 before the Pioneers went on a 15-3 run to finish the quarter. Catherine Haynes and Hannah Kimmel would do it all in the second, scoring all of the Pioneers' points, allowing SHU to go into the half with a 34-29 lead. The game really picked up into the second half as the surging Mount St. Mary's team cut the Pioneers' lead to 1 going into the final quarter. The teams would trade points for most of the quarter, leaving the score at 59-59. With just 23 seconds left in the game, Catherine Haynes committed a costly foul, sending the Mountaineers to the line. Both free throws were made, sealing the game 61-59 in favor of the Mountaineers, snapping the Pioneers' 6-game win streak. The women's basketball team looks to get back on track as they take on Bryant Saturday, February 4th at 1 p.m. We hope to see everyone at the Pitt Center to cheer on the men's and women's teams as they look to start the second half of conference play.
Well, that's all the time we have for you this week. Tune in next week for all of your SHU sports action. For all of us here at the SHU Sports Report, I'm Aaron Burrell. Be sure to check out all of our home action starting tonight with men's volleyball at 7 p.m.